Hello and welcome to the Brilliant 12 Read Aloud series, featuring Mary Pope Osborne's The Magic Treehouse series, Book 1, Dinosaurs Before Dark. There are 10 chapters, each read by one of our brilliant students. Please enjoy.
Chapter 10, Home Before Dark, read by Anne Lee. A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes. He was still pointing at the picture of the Frog Creek woods. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view. "We're home," whispered Annie. The woods were lit with a golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they'd left. "Jack! Annie!" a voice called from the distance. "That's Mom," said Annie, pointing. Jack saw their mother far away. She was standing in front of their house. She looked very tiny. "Annie! Jack!" she called. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, "Coming!" Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. "What happened to us?" he said. "We took a trip in a magic tree house," said Annie simply. "But it's the same time as when we left," said Jack. Annie shrugged. "And how did it take us so far away?" said Jack. "And so long ago. You just looked at a book and said you wished we could go there," said Annie. "And the magic tree house took us there. But how?" said Jack. "And who built this magic tree house? Who put all these books here?" "A magic person, I guess," said Annie. "A magic person? Oh, look," said Jack. "I almost forgot about this." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the gold medallion. "Someone lost this back there, in Dinosaur Land. Look, there's a letter M on it." "You think M stands for magic person?" she said. "I don't know," said Jack. "I just know someone went to that place before us." "Jack! Annie!" came the distant cry again. Annie poked her head out the window. "Coming!" she shouted. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur book out of his pack and put it back with all the other books. Then he and Annie took one last look around the tree house. "Goodbye, house," whispered Annie. Jack slung his backpack over his shoulder. He pointed at the letter. Annie started down. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and started walking out of the woods. "No one's going to believe our story," said Jack. "So let's not tell anyone," said Annie. "Dad won't believe it," said Jack. "He'll say it was a dream," said Annie. "Mom won't believe it," said Jack. "She'll say it was pretend." "My teacher won't believe it," said Jack. "She'll say you're nuts," said Annie. "We better not tell anyone," said Jack. "I already said that," said Annie. Jack sighed. "I think I'm starting to not believe it myself," he said. They left the woods and started up the road toward their house. As they walked past all the houses on their street, the trip to Dinosaur Time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. Jack reached into his pocket. He clasped the gold medallion. He felt the engraving of the letter M. It made Jack's finger tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly he felt very happy. He couldn't explain what happened today, but he knew for sure that their trip in the magic tree house had been real, absolutely real. Tomorrow, Jack said softly, we'll go back to the woods. Of course, said Annie. And we'll climb up to the tree house, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. And we'll see what happens next, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. Race you! And they took off together, running for home.